All right, gang, here's the value scale tutorial. Um, I want to get started on this, and what I want to do is just kind of map out what's going on. So this is going to be my white right here, which means everything past that will be darker. Now, if you wanted to, because this is so light, you could kind of use your graphite bar or your pencil and just kind of try and get a nice even application. And because I know that now this isn't quite working, so I'm actually going to switch to pencil. Sometimes the graphite bars aren't great, mostly because of the surface that you have. So what I'll do is I'll actually change to a pencil, okay, and I'm going to fill in the areas that need a little bit more value. I still have my drawing in place, so I'm happy about that. Just going to kind of go over it lightly, all but the first two. That looks a little more even to me. Now I'll erase this little bit here. Now what I can do is begin the process of blending. And so I'll take my rag, I'll take my finger, stick it in the rag, and go ahead and start rubbing this. Now I'm going to use the residual graphite to hit the second value. It should be super light. Even that's a little dark, so I'll take some out. Okay, the chamois would work for that too. But now it's uneven, so I just need to do a little bit more work to it. I'm not pushing very hard, I just want to reiterate that. Here's number 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so I'll clean up this one again. And I've got a little bit of unevenness in this, so I'll chamois a little bit of this just to kind of maybe even it out a little bit. It's looking fairly good. Clean up my edge again because I want value shifts in the transitions, not lines. So my white is nice and white. There's 1 and 2. Okay, let's move on to 3. I need a little bit more. That looks pretty good to me for number 3. It's got a little bit of little dots going on, but that's okay for the most part. I'm okay with it. 1, 2, 3, and let's move to 4. Let's hit 4 and 5 together because they each need an even coat. Go back in with my blending stump. Be careful that you treat the surface evenly. You don't want to just hit the edge because then you'll have a black or darker strip here. So just kind of evenly going over it. That looks really nice. There's 4 and 5. I might be able to hit by pushing a little bit harder, but I can tell right now I'm going to need a little more graphite. Always putting another layer over the darker area. So this has less layers, this has another layer, this has another layer. Working in layers here. There's 4. I'm actually going to move this right down to here because this needs to be darker. So I'm always establishing the edge by by putting the darker value on top. So it's a little dark on this spot here. So I might actually chamois that and see if I can fix it. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, so here's 5. Let's work on 6. I don't have to worry too much about dragging it over the darker of the edges. Might just need a little bit more. Beautiful. Okay, let's keep going. Slightly more and more I'm pushing harder. All of these things are going to be darker, so at least I could probably do the whole thing. At least to what I have here, knowing that it's going to become darker. Okay. So let's rub this into the paper a little bit and see what base value I have, because I know I'm going to have to go darker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is good. 7. I'm going to go this way. Let's go do the whole thing. I went from left to right. I'm going to go up from up and to down now and sort of try and evenly coat that paper. Sometimes you get little imperfections in the paper, and that's what it does. Don't worry too much about that. I think this is really nice. So I'm going to move on, and I'm going to switch pencils. I had a HB. Now this pencil's broken, but I think it's a 4B, 6B. Go right over the top. You'll see how much nicer and darker this pencil is. We can take it right over all the way. Trying to get as even of a layer as possible. Let's go ahead and darken that by evening it out with your cotton cloth. That looks pretty darn good. Let's keep it going with my darker pencil. I'm going to actually come in here and work this area. I went over a little bit just because I'm working a little too fast. You might find that these two are too similar. I'm okay with them at the moment. You may have to adjust your midtones to make room for your darks, or darken your dark to make room for your midtones. That looks beautiful. Now I'm going to come in with my darkest. I've got to turn the paper a little bit. And really come in here. And put that final layer on. If you wanted to even it out a little bit, you can. So in a nutshell, that's how you do your value study. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If these look a little similar to you, you could just darken these up just a little bit. By going over them with the blending stone. That looks pretty good. Okay, thank you guys.